When it comes to the genre of PvE cooperative shooters, there are many options out there to choose from. Many titles from these PvE experiences generally have a focus on meeting a specific goal while working alongside either friends or strangers with coordination and teamwork to more effectively sustain one another and ultimately survive. Games such as Left 4 Dead, Payday, Warhammer's Tide series, and Borderlands are a few successes among the ocean of many PvE titles that, to this day, are generally regarded as amazing games that execute this formula near flawlessly while staying unique to their own respective franchises. At the same time, however, there also exist many failures in this genre that, although seemed promising or held a lot of potential for growth and success, would fall short of many expectations, hoping to capitalize on the positive reception that previously mentioned titles garnered. Safe to say that it's just as easy to miss the mark on making a successful PvE title as it is to stick the landing. These kind of games have always been one of my go-to experiences since I practically grew up playing them. It's a genre that, for me, carries a lot of nostalgia and fun memories, both playing with siblings and friends alike. Yet no matter how many of these PvE shooters were released, I always felt like the genre was still untapped and held a lot of potential to create something even better than many noteworthy games within this category. As years went by, more and more of this style of games would be released, but there was one that captured the attention of not just myself, but thousands of people. In spring of 2016, a small but passionate community of veteran game developers would join and found a new company known as Ghost Ship Games. Later in the same year, Ghost Ship Games would upload footage of their first project in pre-alpha, leading up to an eventual trailer, showcasing the game at its early stage on their YouTube channel. Teaser after teaser, the notorious gaming conference show E3 in 2017 would be where a reveal trailer for the game would be shown to a much broader public audience, giving everyone a taste of what was to be expected from this new project and the ambitious team behind it. Many more teasers alongside vlogs will be uploaded to their YouTube channel before an official announcement that the game was slated for an early access release of February 28, 2018, showing the game off in a much more polished state both in visuals and gameplay. With hype for this newcomer to the genre of ever-expanding co-op shooters, this game will soon be regarded as currently one of the best of this category of shooters, both by old and new players of the genre. Deep Rock Galactic was finally released for the public to enjoy. For those that may have never heard of or aren't familiar with the game, Deep Rock Galactic is a 4-player co-op PvE first-person shooter in which you are a dwarf employed by a morally questionable and greedy space mining company, fittingly named Deep Rock Galactic. It is under this company you and up to 3 of your associates are repeatedly sent down to a dangerous planet rich in both minerals and wildlife threats named Hoxie's 4. Each mission has you and your team of heavily armed dwarves explore diverse environments loaded to the brim with resources beneficial to both the company's economic well-being and your own survival. Within every mission, you are given a primary and secondary objective. Primary objectives are a necessary goal in order for your work to be considered done and leave the planet via drop pod, while secondary objectives are optional opportunities to gain even more of the game's currency, gold, that can be used to purchase upgrades for your weapons alongside cosmetics and additional character experience to level up both you and your class, which leads us to Deep Rock Galactic's staple, the classes. The game consists of 4 different classes: Gunner, Engineer, Scout, and Driller, all of which grant the player different equipment and capabilities based on their playstyle or what is needed for a mission. What makes these classes so well tuned and enjoyable to play is that every class in this game has value to give to the team and can be equally effective members of a team with the right coordination. Gunner is essentially the team's lifeline, having access to the biggest guns and equipment suited for dishing out consistent, seemingly never-ending streams of damage to both hordes of small fry and big game alike, while keeping pressure off his team with his signature shield to keep enemies at bay, to revive a teammate, or simply if they need the breathing room to support Gunner. He also has a zipline gun, mainly purposed for crossing huge gaps and chasms in the many different environments the game has to offer. Engineer is an absolute defensive monster, boasting turrets and a wide variety of equipment, most suited for controlling the battlefield around you and your team, while lending tons of support fire through his turrets and weapons, capable of taking down large hordes of enemies with ease, so long as he has a space to do so. Scout is, well, he's the team scout as mentioned, meaning that his main job is to journey into the many terrains of each cave system, using his highly versatile grapple gun to traverse horizontally and vertically, gathering much needed resources for the team such as Nitra, undoubtedly the game's most important resource used to call resupply pods for all your team members to replenish much needed ammunition and health, and of course any objective related minerals as well in certain missions. He also has one of the most valuable support tools in the game, his flare gun. Every class in Deep Rock Galactic has access to flares, which can be used to give light and vision in many of the dark caves and tunnels to see enemies and minerals, as well as give you more awareness of your surroundings. What makes Scout's flare gun so invaluable compared to these, however, is that the flares he can shoot from it give 8 times more light and vision, usually being able to light up an entire cave with 1 to 2 well-placed flares, compared to everyone else's smaller flares that usually require 2 to 3 just to see only so few segments of the cave. All when it comes to dealing with enemies, Scout is by far the least capable of keeping multitude of enemies at bay. That isn't to say he's completely useless in this department, merely that compared to the rest of his dwarven brethren, he takes on more of a supportive role, picking off more threatening targets with most of his weaponry being more geared towards precise single target damage. Lastly, we have Driller, the game's most unique and unorthodox class, as much of Driller's equipment is complementary to the game's general mechanics. He has perhaps the most horde clearing potential thanks to his kit being made to not only kill large multitudes of bugs, but slow down and hinder them through a plethora of status effects, choosing to either be able to support his team in taking down enemies big and small, or just outright kill them if he so pleases. What really makes Driller unique though are his 2 handheld drills in which he can dig through any terrain to pave paths to certain objectives, speeding up the process immensely. Every class is able to dig out terrain using their pickaxe to interact with the environment and create paths to their own desire. Driller, however, can do this at 4 times the speed with twice as much ease with his C4 as well, a highly potent explosive that can be used for creating huge holes and crevices to shape the environment to your advantage when it comes to dealing with swarms, or to simply inflict a quick high burst of damage to any enemy. This doesn't even cover the different amounts of builds each class has and all the game's general system mechanics, but it's a game I highly encourage everyone to give a try, or maybe even come back to if it's been a while. It's an experience with a lot to offer both solo and with friends, a community that's extremely welcoming to newcomers, and a passionate development team that continues to pour their love of both the genre and gaming in general into it. Perhaps in the future I'll talk more about this game, as there really is a lot to be covered with it, but for now I really want to make this video to not only introduce new players to the franchise, but also vent out my love for it. That's all I have to say for now, so see you guys later.